Hi, beautiful. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my page. I'm glad that we have some time to sit and chat and just talk to each other. I'm always going to pour into you guys and remind you how important it is to tap into our soft and feminine energy and why it's so important, because we can truly live our best, most fulfilled, passionate, healthy lives when we're in this space of just soft and feminine energy, when we're true to ourselves. But as I always remind you guys, there's always so many different things trying to separate us from this soft energy and pull us away from that. So many distractions. Last week we talked about being patient with ourselves. Okay? And so that's truly important because we can be our biggest enemies, you guys. But today, let's talk about something personal, something that I've been going through as well, and I've been practicing. Let's talk about protecting our peace and also being aware of certain things, certain people, certain experiences and situations that's trying to separate us from this space. But also, when things don't go our way, still practicing peace and remaining in this place of peace. So we're going to get right into it. Let's talk about why it's important that we protect our peace and the different tips and ways, different things that I've been doing myself to make sure that I'm protecting my space, my peace, so that I can remain in a soft and feminine energy. Let's get into it, okay? Everything I talk about, it's what I'm going through. It's what I'm practicing. And as I'm growing and walking, I'm walking right there with you guys as well. This is why it's something really deep into my heart, because it's something that I notice. And I just want to make sure I share this with you guys as well, because when someone tries to rob us of our peace, when something tries to take us away from our peace, we are now separated from just this beautiful, happy life that we could be living. And we do not deserve that. So why is peace important? Why is it important for us to protect our space, to protect our peace? Peace was given to us by God. It is our right. He sacrificed, He gave us the most ultimate sacrifice and forgave our sins, but He also told us to move forward in peace. And His word, His sacrifice is so powerful that it is our responsibility, it is our authority, because He commanded us to move forward in peace. This is something that we have to protect, because I truly do believe that He understands when this peace is gone, we are going to start operating in a different light, operating off of emotions and not logically. And we cannot trust our emotions because sometimes they don't have the best interest, our best interest. But it's also a chance for us to grow closer to God, because peace is having trust. It's trusting God that everything is going to work in our favor. Everything is working in His favor, therefore is working for us as well. And it's literally saying, hey God, I'm going to trust you. This is not going the right way, or maybe this relationship hurt me, or maybe this experience is hurting me, but I'm going to trust you, God, and I'm going to make sure that I remain in a space of peace, because I know anything that you're doing for me is going to be 10 times better than what I could have ever controlled or imagined. The longer we are out of this space of peace, the more vulnerable we are to our emotions and to these different things trying to pull us apart and distract us, and therefore we're not living the best life that we can be, that we can have. And we're allowing negative things to just come into our life and to tear us apart when we have control over all of that. Okay, so let's talk about ways on how we can protect our peace and different tips and tricks, things that I've been doing myself to make sure that I'm keeping this space clean and I'm pouring into myself and I'm taking good care of myself and practicing authority over my life. So, one, and I know you probably hear this a lot, creating boundaries is very important, you guys. And I know it's easier said than done, but this is something extremely important. We have to create boundaries. We have to acknowledge and be aware of certain things that's going to separate us or trying to separate us from our peace, that's bringing negative energy, negative thoughts into our lives. that's not really looking for us or for our best interest. And we have to practice boundaries with these things and place them forward. Because as I said, this is a responsibility given to us by God. So this should be a very high priority. And I believe mentally, once we step back and look at it as a responsibility, then we put a lot of priority on it, and it becomes much easier to protect and obtain this peace. So we need to recognize when something's trying to come and rob us of our joy and peace, we need to put our foot down. And so we do this by creating boundaries. We can also do this by limiting our exposure to certain things that's separating us, that might be triggering to us or make us want to operate off of emotion all the time. And then also, we need to practice saying no. And this is something I really have to do because I'm very sweet and very nice, but I had to learn how to start saying no and telling people certain opportunities, certain things, certain feelings, even myself, saying no and actually letting that word come out of my mouth. No. And I want you to practice this as well. When you say no, you mean no, because you're creating boundaries in your life that's keeping you in this space of peace and operating for your best interest. And I want to remind you that no one is going to do this for you. This is no one else's responsibility. And this is very important when we're in relationships, building friendships with a significant other, our careers, opportunities, wherever it is not their responsibility. It is your responsibility to have these boundaries, to put your foot down, and to say no. One of the biggest things that I have been doing is limiting myself from certain things that might trigger me or cause negative emotions, especially early in the morning or late at night when our mind is more vulnerable to certain things. When we wake up early in the morning, you guys, our mind is the most sensitive to whatever it is that we feed it. So if the first thing I'm doing when I wake up is turning on Instagram and scrolling and looking at different things, it's much easier for me to be triggered, and I realize that. And there's so many things that's pulling me in different directions and causing me to kind of step out of my peace versus sticking with my boundaries, waking up in the morning, praying to God first, having 5 minutes of affirmations, taking a slow shower, just creating a boundary and taking care of myself first. And before I go to bed, prioritizing myself before I do anything. Because if I don't do that, then I start to become triggered by certain things, and that's just separating me from my peace. So I want you to try these things as well, to acknowledge whatever it is that might trigger you, that might try to separate you. Acknowledge them and then start creating boundaries. Hey, if I'm healing from a relationship, maybe it's not good that I go on social media early in the morning and compare myself to other women or compare myself to other relationships or try to listen to relationship advice and gurus when I'm most sensitive. Instead, let me take this moment for myself and place myself in this space of peace. Because I will promise you, all of these relationship gurus, all of these Instagram posts, or whatever it is that you're watching, you're not their best interest, my loves. You're not. And so I just need you to remember that. Create boundaries, protect your space, and say no when you feel the need to say no or when it doesn't align with your values, your morals, and anything that's pushing you closer and closer to your peace, your happiness, and God. Something else that I have been practicing is the art of just letting go. Letting go of emotions, letting go of feelings, and letting go of certain situations that's not helping us or looking out for us. And this is also easier said than done, you guys. The art of letting go is a beautiful skill. It's a beautiful task to have, especially when you're trying to protect your peace and your space. Because you have the choice. We have the choice. You guys, something negative, something that's impacting our life can either take up or occupy 2% of our lifespan or 2 decades of our lifespan. If you don't let any negative thoughts, anything that's hurting you, negative energy in your life, if you don't let it go, there's a very high possibility and chance that it's going to take up 2 decades of your life. when we have the choice to limit that and just make it 2%. So I'm here. I want to remind you that heartbreaks, relationships, closed doors, negative experiences, opportunities, all of these things, these are only 2% of your life. It's not going to matter 2 years from now. It's not going to matter 5 years from now, 10 years, because guess what? 5 years, 2 years, maybe even a year down the line, something better is coming your way. And again, remember I said practicing trust with God. We have to remember and trust that God is working in our favor. If this door closed, if something in my life is causing negative energy, if I let it go, something better is coming my way. And I believe that and I trust it. And this is truly a mental muscle that we have to practice. Let it go. I also talk about the art of letting go when it comes to emotions. A lot of times we may experience negative emotions, very passionate and strong emotions. It's not our emotions that keep us in a state of this discomfort and sadness and takes away our peace. It's not the emotion that steals our peace, but it's actually our thoughts and ourselves. So I always like to say, whenever you're going through these emotions, let these emotions come, but let it go. Do not entertain them with thoughts. Do not think of scenarios. Do not think of what if I did this differently? What if it worked out this way? Just let these negative emotions go and do not overthink it. Clear your mind, acknowledge the emotion, and let it come in and let it come out. And this is something that I try to practice. Last week, we talked about practicing patience with ourselves. I have to do this too because when I get frustrated over something, I could sit there and be mad for 5 or 10 minutes, or I can just let the emotion come and let it go instead of acting off of that. And that's what protecting our space and our peace is. It's making sure that we're aware of our emotions. It's making sure that we're letting go of anything that's hurting us, anyone that's hurting us. And I also want to remind you that nothing is worth robbing you of 2 decades of your life. Nothing. Nothing is more powerful than God's purpose for you. Nothing's more greater than your happiness and peace. So let these things go, okay? Something else I had to also practice is opinion over fact. I was listening to an ebook the other day, and the author dropped a really powerful piece of wisdom or knowledge, and he said opinion over fact. We have to make sure that we're not operating off of opinion and assumptions all the time because we can be our biggest enemies, you guys. We can assume so much, and 9 times out of 10, we are assuming the worst. So I'll give you guys some examples and some examples that he may have given. Friendship. Suppose, some friends may be a little bit busy throughout the few weeks or haven't been keeping in touch as much. And all of a sudden, mentally, you might be thinking, oh, I'm not a good friend, or oh, this person doesn't like me anymore. Opinion over fact. You don't know the fact until you talk to this person, but until you figure out the fact, do not operate off of opinions or assumptions. Just sit back and be like, and realize like, hey, maybe this person is going through a lot. Maybe this person has a lot going on in their life. I do not know the facts yet, but I'm not going to waste energy off of negative assumptions and negative opinion. Another example would be in relationships with your significant other. Suppose your significant other is a little more quiet than usual. A negative assumption would be something like, oh, this person must be mad at me. Or maybe he's in a bad mood with me. Maybe I did something to upset him, or he doesn't want to be with me or be around me. That is a negative assumption. And so let this person have their space, but do not feed into these negative assumptions until you get the fact. You can say, hey, babe, or my love, are you okay? I noticed that you're a little quiet. You might never know that this person have their own life, their own battles that they're going through. Don't make assumptions until you understand the fact. And if you are going to make assumptions, make it positive assumptions. Okay, I see that this person is feeling this way. They're going through a hard time. But I'm going to give them their space. I'm going to pour into them. But I'm going to operate out of peace until we have a chance to sit down and talk. Something else that I have been practicing, you guys, and this is combating the negative, okay? I want you to still practice love. And this is something that I do. This is something that I did as I was going through my healing phase, my heartbreak. Like I mentioned before, nothing is worth robbing you 2 decades or more, even 2% of your life. But you can allow things to be 2% or 2 decades. The choice is yours. But I'm always going to push you to always love. Do not change for the worse. You can still be a soft and loving person in this world. Yes, you may have got hurt learning to do so or in the past, but now we have to put our guard up and control who we give this love to, who we give this peace to. And we can't give that to everybody. So, okay, you got burned, you got hurt, but we can't no longer just give it to everybody. Have discernment. Have trust in yourself. Have trust in God, but control who you give this love to, because it's not worth living the rest of your life never truly experiencing this love and the peace of having someone to love you or having the opportunity that was truly meant for you, because your walls are so high up, because you vowed to never love again. You vowed to never trust a friend again. You vowed to never fully put yourself into an opportunity again. You're only robbing and hurting yourself. So still love, still be a loving, soft person, but control who you give it to. And this goes back to saying no, practicing your boundaries. Not everybody and not everything is deserving of your love, because your love is powerful. It can create generations after you. It can create healing, and it can just create so much power. The words that you say, the people that you're going to pour into, do not rob yourself in the future generations because of the past, okay? Only let that be 2% of your life and still be a blessing in this world. I just want to share my favorite tip that I've been doing, you guys, and this one means so much to me, and it is truly powerful. And I honestly believe that this is the secret to protecting your peace, protecting my peace in my space. If we truly believe that God is who He is the one true God, and He is powerful, then His name alone, the sacrifice that He has given us, His name alone is powerful enough to combat any evil, any negative thoughts, any demons that's coming after us. So when I find myself becoming triggered, or I feel as if I'm being attacked by just negative energy, negative thought, then I simply say the word Jesus. I simply use His name as a tool, as a power to protect me and to keep me in that space. Because any negative energy, anything in this world, anything that's trying to separate me from that, they all must bow down to His name. His name alone scares anything that tries to harm me. So if I start having negative thoughts, or I'm trying to take myself out of this place of peace, then I say, Jesus, Jesus, I need you. But all I need to say is Jesus, because nothing can have command over me. Nothing can have control. I believe that He is the Savior, and that He saved me, and that He is powerful. And so I'm going to practice that authority. I'm going to practice His name. And I have been doing that, and recently it has been helping me so much, you guys. And I can't even express just how powerful it is. And it's something that I want you to try and give a shot in, because like I said, like, He has authority over everything. I can't believe that I haven't been practicing this more. Like, I could have been doing this in my life. But now that I know, and I just wanted to make sure that I shared this with you guys. My loves, this life is so beautiful, but we're constantly at battle with so many different things trying to separate us from just being soft, feminine women. And it's so important because, like I said, our future generations depend on it. Our future selves depend on it. We can still be soft and loving women, but we just have to protect our peace and have these boundaries, to practice the word no, to practice the name of Jesus, to understand facts over opinions, over negative assumptions. So I just wanted to remind you guys of this. I also want to thank you for just spending time with me today, and it's truly appreciated. I truly love you guys, and you guys are always safe in this space. Thanks for spending time with me today. And I also have a guest here, Chanel. Chanel was here too. She was snoring. But yes, I guess I'll see you guys next week. And have a good day, okay? I love you.